Alright, so yeah, so I'm going to be doing some rec reviews right now. One game for Mr. Lennon, and the other game is going to be for Ron Paul. So we're going to start with Mr. Lennon first. He's playing Thor. It's Tundra.
Tilbuin?
So what you want to do is that you definitely want to get hunting dogs straight away.
Skipan.
These two starting doors. You
Tilbuin?
don't want to put them on hunts. You want to use your the meta for Thor is to use your Dwarven Mine and put these two doors straight on gold. Then you queue like 5 to 7 villagers on hunt with hunting dogs and get a pig sticker upgrade. So you have like really good food income from just villagers, and your doors can be gathering the resource that they gather most efficiently, which is gold. So yeah, you don't want these dwarves to be on hunt this early, unless you're specifically saving your dwarven gold mine, which I wouldn't really be doing. It's not really a common thing. You want to use it straight away usually, so you can get as efficient a start as possible. Yeah.
You
want your dwarves to be gathering gold basically, because that's what they're best at, and you just use dwarven mine straight away, so you don't have to make an ox cart.
Tilbuin?
I see you've got hunting dogs, which is good, but then what you really want to get as well on a map with this much hunt is pig sticker. Like if you have a high hunt map, you always want to get both as Thor, hunting dogs and pig sticker. And pig sticker, it costs 100 gold and 1 favor, but right now you don't have the gold because you haven't got the doors mining gold on the dwarf mine, which you should have done. So yeah, you really want to get pig stickers. It's really good on these maps with high hunt. So let's just play fast. Okay. So you've done a circle with your elf. That's fine. I would also use these goats to scout the corner a bit, but it's no big deal if you're not. Make sure to update your ox cart position so that your guys are gathering as efficiently as possible. Like this is quite a bit of walking distance. You should really be trying to pay attention to it. Okay, good. You do move it. And right now, looking at this map, like you've got this safe back gold mine behind this town center. That's actually pretty unusual for Tundra. So if I see this, I think I want to grab this town center pretty quickly. So, but like sometimes it's difficult as Norse because you get bullied if you try to grab a fast town center. You have idle town center. You don't want to idle your town center. Always keep it building units. Come on, you need to constantly be making villagers. Don't ever stop making units. This gatherer was stuck here. Yeah, so that's actually really big. You weren't making villagers for like I'm not sure how long, for like almost a minute, which is really big. That puts you like 3 or 4 villagers behind. And like if a villager gathers like 1 resource per second, then in 5 minutes, being 4 villagers down in 5 minutes, that's like how many resources is that? That's like about 1,000 resources. Like they gather a bit less than 1 resource per second, but then yeah, so you not making villagers puts you 1,000 resources down the line, like down in 5 minutes time. 1,000 resources, that's a lot. Like villagers are just absolutely key. You have to be constantly making them. That's such a huge boon of many players I see that are still new to competitive play. They stop making villagers, and it really, really hurts them. Like if you stop making villagers early on, it's just so terrible. Like heroic is 1,200 resources. No, it's 1,300 resources, and like these 4 villagers that you didn't make for 1 minute, they could be gathering that 1,200 resources on their own in just about like 5 minutes or so. So yeah, it's absolutely huge. You need to be constantly making villagers. Again, you're not making villagers. You need to be making villagers. If you look at the villager count, your opponent has 22 villagers. You only got 12. And that's no good. That means your opponent is getting resource income twice as fast as you because he has double your villagers. He's getting resource income about twice as fast as you. That means he'll be making twice as much army, and that's really bad. Oh, bit of a missed opportunity here. Forest fire would have killed like probably 2 or 3 villagers. That would be definitely worth it. Yeah, you need to be making villagers. Come on, make villagers. Like if you were playing another civ, I'd just tell you put villagers in auto queue all game. And just like leave them at that. But then as Norse, you want to make both dwarves and gatherers, so it's a bit more tricky, and you have to pay attention all the time to your town center because you can't just auto queue gatherers. You want to make both a mix of dwarves and gatherers usually. Though at some point of the game, you can just start auto queuing dwarves because food becomes quite scarce, and you don't want to. You rather spend gold than spend food, if possible, because that you run out of food on the map. Okay, so right now, I would be trying to scout the map a little bit more because you're just about finished with this hunt spot, and then there could be more hunts in this Fog of War here. Let's have a look. Yeah, you it gives you the most knowledge about what options you have. So you know that you have a hunt here, you have 2 orcs here. Like you only know about this hunt here, and then once you take that, you run out. And also, it tells you about any opportunities that you might have to harass your opponent. Like if you scout the map and you see him down here, then this is a free raid. You can pick off villagers here and disrupt his gathering. So that's really good. You really want to have as much information as possible. So if you have army that isn't really doing anything for the moment, just have them scout around the map. Like Oathsharks are a really good scout. The Valkyrie is a really good scout. It's like more useful for her to be scouting the map instead of killing this granary here. Yeah. And also, yeah, one thing is you want to get husbandry before you start working your goats. What husbandry does is it gives you 20% gather rate on your herdables and also makes them fatten up faster. The 20% gather rate is pretty big. 20% is a lot. And another thing about it is you want to get husbandry eventually as like even if you have on a map with no herdables, you eventually still want to get husbandry because what it does is it increases your food gathering capacity from 15 to 30. And that means you are walking a lot less with your villagers. Like your villagers spend a lot less time walking and more time gathering, so you get a lot better resource gather rate. So, like, you're going to want to get it eventually. So, since it boosts your herdables gather rate, then you want to get husbandry before you start gathering your herdables, since it's a tech that you want to get eventually anyway. Like, even as Atlantean, who don't benefit from the extra carry capacity, they still get it if they have like 5 herdables or 6 herdables. But that's about the point where it becomes worth it for Atlantean to get husbandry, so they can gather their herdables faster. Again, you need to be paying attention to housing. You don't want to be housed. You want to be constantly making villagers. Vills. Never stop making villagers. Yeah, you want to make a... Don't get housed. Really important. Also, you only have 3 doors on gold, which is really not enough. You really want to have a lot more. You really like as Norwich, let's say about 8 to 10 on gold if you're on 1 town center. If you're on 2 town centers, then you want to go for a bit more on gold. Like this is for the classical age. In the later ages, you're going to want to have more doors so you can spam the gold heavy myth units, and you can make even more army. But then for the classical age, I'd say you want 8 to 10 doors on gold, and 3 is really way too little. So right now you don't have the gold to do anything. You're just sort of stuck because you have a bit of an imbalanced economy. Like I'd even get these gatherers to just mine gold, so you can actually be producing dwarves to rebalance your economy. Like I'd get these gatherers, I'd just like put dwarven mine down and start mining it.
Skipan?
You got shaft mine as well, which is good. Shaft mine is really good for the Norse gather rate on gold, the doors.
Skipan. Tilbúin.
Tilbúin, já.
Skipan.
Pay attention to your villas, don't idle. Okay, good, that's fixed. Yeah, you like right now you only have 33 villagers at this point in the game, but your opponent he doesn't seem to be making villagers, so it's actually sort of evened out. But it's really important to be constantly making villagers. 32 village like this number of villagers is way too low for 14 minutes in. Like, you should just be constantly making villagers. So your economy is actually kind of weak because you've not been making villagers. You've done a good job getting economic upgrades, but you should be constantly making villagers on top of that. I mean, you're not even close to your population limit, so it's like you can't say it's like, oh, I'm saving population for army, which you shouldn't even be doing in the first place.
Tilbúin.
Like you
Já.
should be making villagers, and then you grab your town centers, and then
Skipan.
you go for about 100 population in Nico. That's my recommendation. About 100 population. As Norse, you actually want to max out on vills as much as possible because you have Ragnarok. Well, as Thor and Odin at least. But yeah, you want about 100 population in Eco, which is like 80 vills and 20 caravans or whatever. Yeah, so I'm not going to talk about the engagement here because like that's another point in the game. It's like what you really need to work on is making villagers, as many villagers as you can from all your town centers, really boosting up your economy as much as possible so you can constantly be making army, like, and then in 18 minutes losing this amount of army, like even if all this army is dead, it'll cost you nothing. You get the resources back to remake this in like 30 seconds if you have a strong economy, like lots of villagers. You can just be constantly making armies, spam buildings everywhere. That's sort of the meta on how you play this game.
Tilbúin.
Okay, so this game goes on for quite a bit, but like, see, like just like what's important isn't actually this action happening. That's not what's important. What's important is that you need to make villagers. You need to 34 villagers is not enough. You need to make villagers. Come on,
Ég vil.
more villagers.
Tilbúin. Hver þar? Tilbúin. Skipan. Hver þar?
Yeah, so it just you also maxed out on pops, and at which point I would attack with your army so I could lose some units so I can make even more villagers. Especially with Norse, you have Ragnarok god power, so that's you really want to be able to use Ragnarok with as many villagers as possible. Just suiciding this army or attacking this town center for no reason, and then you lose all this army. Like the army was worth like 3,000 resources. In this town center, it cost him about 1,000 resources. I mean, including the building time. And you attacked it, and you lost all the army, and you didn't even take it down. So that was really stupid. Yeah. I prioritize getting dwarves and mining out the gold if possible before going for this trade, because caravans, they're actually in 1v1s they actually gather pretty slow. Like this caravan is 63 gold, so it's actually gathering
Tilbúin.
probably like 30 or 40% slower than your dwarf that has full eco upgrades. Like, yeah, this caravan is really not getting the best gather rate. It's also going to the wrong town center. You want to go to this town center, which is further away. Yeah, as long as they're gold mines, it's generally better to have villagers than caravans.
Skipan?
As long as they're gold mines on the map. In team games, it's a bit different because the map is so big, and you actually do get a bonus for trading with allied town centers, a 50% bonus, which is really big. But in 1v1s, you want to, like, you want to use villagers to mine gold mines if there's still gold mines available before you resort to trade. Just because of how expensive trade is, and it's also pretty slow unless you have a really good trade route. I just want to be careful about this. Yeah, one thing on E Extended Edition, is if you put your ox cart right next to the gold mine like this, then what happens is your doors, they're going to end up stuck inside the gold mine, eventually. I'm not sure if it's gonna happen in this case, but it sometimes does happen if you put it this close. You want to leave a gap between the doors and the gold mine. This is how doors end up getting stuck in gold mines all the time. It's like Norse players that have their ox cart like this.
Já, skip.
Skip tilbúin.
Yeah, so I'm just like, this game is like, yeah, you like if your opponent's not gonna make any villagers, then he's just on 22 vills for the rest of the game, and you're gonna win eventually.
Já,
So yeah, I'm just gonna wait for that to happen.
Já. Skip.
Okay, so what's it? Okay, first things first, you need to constantly be making villagers. I've been saying this all game. Villagers, villagers, villagers. It's so important. The second thing, I want to show you some build orders for Thor, so you can get the best early game possible, and then you can get off to a good start. So I'm going to, like, that's the important bit. You do a good job getting upgrades, and yeah, you do a good job getting upgrades and like and whatnot. You know, do sometimes a few stupid attacks with your army and just suicide it, but then, I mean, like, yeah, like, that's actually okay if you have a good economy. Like, I mean, it's still a mistake, but you can afford to make mistakes if you're making villagers and your opponent isn't. So the number one thing is that you have to be constantly making villagers, and the second thing is build orders, or the game build orders. Third thing is be careful about suiciding your army, like just like charging in recklessly and then like killing only 5 units and losing 30 units. That's no good. You really don't want to do that. That's game losing. Okay, so I'm gonna dive right in and show some build orders for Thor. So right away, I use my town bell. I place the Dwarven line, and then I exit my doors from the town center onto the Dwarven line. And I'm grabbing hunting dogs straight away from my ox cart. In the meantime, I'm queuing villagers, these gatherers, onto the caribou. And I'm going to kill 2 caribou right now, like this. I'm going to just shoot. And then that, killing these 2 animals, gives me 1 favor, so I can get pig sticker once these dwarves have enough gold. So now I get pig sticker because I have this. And in the meantime, I'm just queuing gatherers from my town center. So I'm gonna use the cheat to make this play faster. Yeah, just to speed things up a bit. So I'm gonna be just constantly queuing all these gatherers onto my hunt until I have 7 gatherers. That's a good number to have. And I remember to get pig sticker and hunting dogs first. Meanwhile, I just leave these 2 dwarves gathering my dwarven gold mine, and I'm queuing villagers onto this hunt. So right now, when I have 7 villagers on hunt, I go for my wood next. So I queue a gatherer onto wood, and then I make an ox cart for the gatherer, so the gatherer doesn't have to walk back and forth between the town center. And my elf, he's still running around scouting the map. Okay.
Tilbúin? Já.
And right now, it's about, like, I return to my base with my Ulf after scouting for a bit, and I build my temple, so that it will be up on time for me to advance, in a timely manner. Meantime, as soon as this hunt is finished, I move out, and I grab this hunt over here.
Tilbúin.
Okay, so now I have 5 gatherers on wood. I start making doors. I queue a dwarf to this gold mine, and then the next dwarf, after I have 3 on this dwarven mine, goes to this
Tilbúin?
other gold mine in my base, like the starting gold, and then I make an ox cart. I want to delay the ox cart as much as possible. That's why I use the starting gold mine, because the later I make the ox cart, the more resources I get, and it comes for a smoother early game. And then now I have 7 on food, 5 on wood, 4 on gold. My ox cart is just finishing from the town center, and I'm ready to advance to the classical age through either Freya or Forseti. In most cases, you want to go Freya because the Valkyrie is such a good myth unit. It's really tanky and there's a raider, but Forseti is also very nice. Healing Spring is going to be there for all game for you to heal, and then the Troll is also a very spammable myth unit if you have trouble going to the heroic age. It's very cheap for how strong it is. While the Valkyrie, because it costs food, it's a bit more expensive, but it's still a good myth unit if you're stuck in the classical age. So I'm going to choose Freya, because Freya is the more standard choice. And as soon as these doors finish this Dwarven Gold Mine, which we're not going to wait for them to do, you move them onto this other gold mine. So right now you have right now you have 7 on food, 5 on wood, 4 on gold. And what this will give you is it will give you all the resources you need to do what you want straight away as soon as you hit the classical age, which is usually you want to get out 3 longhouses, and just start pumping out units. Or you can also, like, particularly in team games, you can also just grab this town center here. So you're just gonna spam out. Like, I started queuing Hersers a bit late, so I don't actually have the units for it. And then I'm just queuing out units, and then like after that, I'm still continuing to queue villagers, so I'm just queuing a mix of gatherers and doors from my town centers, and I have the 3 longhouses out, and then I queue whatever unit I feel is appropriate depending on the matchup and the map. So I'm going to queue some raiding cavalry and throwing axemen here, and then I'm going to make sure I make houses so I don't get housed. Yeah. Okay, another thing about this build is that, like, it's like going for 5 gatherers on wood is a bit sort of heavy on food. So this is a high hunt map, so we have had enough food to be able to do that and still age up on time. But if it's a lower hunt map like Oasis or Alfheim, like Oasis actually sounds troublesome, and I'm not sure exactly the right way to play it. Then you want to make then you may want to make dwarves on wood instead of gatherers, like a mix of dwarves and gatherers. You don't want to go all dwarves on wood because they train a bit slower, and and it's like, gatherers gather a bit faster. So you do that so you can get enough food to age up on time, so that you have enough army to protect your hunt. If you're like, my army should really be sitting right on top of this hunt right here, so that it's protecting it, and then I need to make sure that I'm not getting housed. So so this is basically a sort of build order, and as you can see, I have a pretty good amount of army for this point in the game. I got a good amount of population. All my buildings are training units, and I have a steady economy. Everything's going smooth. So that's how you would play. That's the build order. So just remember, 7 on food, 5 on wood, and then 2 more doors on gold. So you have 4 on gold. That will give you a great start to the game, and then after that, just remember to queue villagers, loop some army, maybe grab a second TC when you think it's fine, and you'll do really solid. And then get your eco up set about like maybe 8 or 9 minutes in, or after you go heroic. Like, I'd actually like to, like, I think as Norse, like you're these, like, it's really important to go heroic on time, so like you actually don't get your wood eco-ups. Maybe you get gold eco-ups, I'm not sure. Like, depending on how things are going, but you don't actually need your eco-ups until like 9 or 10 minutes into the game, and then you should have quite a lot of doors and gatherers, and you get both bow saw and shaft mine if possible. Okay, so that's it for Mr. Linen. Right now I'm going to be looking at Ron Paul's game. He's playing Zeus against Loki on Anatolia. Yeah, so
Πρόσταγμα.
let's put this in play fast. Goes for the granary on the boards, which is fine. Like, you maybe could have tried to lure them into the town center, but like it's not always reliable, so I can't really say it's wrong to go for this granary here. I don't actually like going for this wood line because it's so thin, but actually all your woodlands are sort of like that. Like, I would have put the storehouse over here, like on this tree where the recorded game pause is, like right around this, like, because that's just a thicker, it's just a bit better in terms of how the wood is spread. Like this, I feel like, yeah, you're gonna run out of room for villagers and wood if you put them on this spot, and then they're gonna become inefficient. As for your dock placement, I think you built your dock a bit too far back. I would have liked to have seen that a bit more forward, like either contesting the middle like this, or the second fish patch. The second or third fish patch is usually what I recommend for this map. You've chosen to build a storehouse here. That's usually not what you want to do. Is Greek usually the meta for Greek is to send your villager back after building this dock, and then like later on in the game, when you need to start building docks again, you send your villager out again, so you don't, like, I mean, just walking here and back, like, that might be 50 resources by itself, but then this 50 resources early on is more efficient trips for you. Yeah, so you right now you've built your house and you've got the wood to make a fishing ship, so you should be still queuing fishing ships, so you need to be on top of that. Maybe queuing fishing ships, come on. No, you don't want to temple this early. You want to have been doing fishing ships. Okay, so this is a really early temple, so yeah, so that tells me you want to advance fast, but I feel like your economy isn't actually in shape to advance fast. Like, I don't know if you're, yeah, well, like, I don't know if you're trying to play this like Mediterranean, but if you advance fast, that means you want to be aggressive and pressure his side on water. But yeah, oh yeah, you have scouted his dock. But yeah, this is like not having the dock make fishing ships is like being idle for so long is really, it's really not good.
Λέγε, πρόσεχε.
Πρόσταγμα. Πρόσεχε. Λέγε, πρόσεχε.
I want to make sure that these fishing ships are actually gathering, and over here I would actually make a third dock for this patch of fish. I would actually make a third dock right here. Yep, through Athena. So it's like, send this Minotaur down here and see what he can do. Make some triremes here. Yes, you are making triremes, good. The triremes will protect the Minotaur from Herser. If you have control of the water, then and you have your Minotaur close to the water, then the Herser, they can't actually attack the Minotaur because the triremes will shoot at the Herser when they come too close to the water. So yeah, like, it's a good combination to have the Minotaur and the. Where's the Minotaur actually? Where did he go? Ah, okay. So the Minotaur's here. Like, yeah, he should be really coming down and helping do damage to this dock if you're going to be trying to fight water, since like you won't be afraid of losing him, and he actually does a lot of damage to the dock. Using triremes to destroy the dock, it's not very effective because the dock has really high pierce armor, and then will shoot at the triremes. So you really need a really big number of triremes to actually be able to take out a dock. So using land units, especially on this map, since it's so far away from the town center, it's a lot It's a lot better than
Λέγε.
trying to take out the dock with triremes. Like right now, you should be paying attention here and not losing this trireme. Like this is
Πρόσταγμα.
yeah, losing the trireme is no good.
Πρόσταγμα. Έτοιμος. Πρόσταγμα.
Πρόσταγμα.
So look at your E-cups. You've got both hand axe and pickaxe. Nice, nice. Yeah, you should be queuing fishing ships, expanding your food economy. Again, these storehouses, I don't understand why you're making a storehouse like this. Like, just place it like next to this tower, like, and then put it perpendicular to the gold mine. That way you can fit as many villagers as possible between your storehouse and your gold mine. There's really no reason to build your storehouse like this. It just makes it inefficient once you have a larger number of villagers in this gold mine. I'm not sure why you're doing this. I noticed you did that in a previous game as well, but yeah, you shouldn't be building your storehouses like this.
Λέγε. Πρόσταγμα. 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 Πρόσταγμα.
Okay, so you should try. So what you should be doing is being careful not to take dock fire from the triremes. Right now he's only got one dock here. Yeah, like this point you have, let's say you have 7 triremes, and that's enough. You've already won this side of the water. You like more triremes is kind of pointless, so you should stop making triremes here. They're really expensive, so yeah, like it's really important to not just have triremes on auto queue when you actually don't need them anymore. So you should be stopping this as soon as possible. You don't need more triremes here to win this water. And instead, you should be expanding your food economy, because you only have 9 fishing ships, and that's really not enough. You should be expanding your food economy on the top side and the bottom side, which, since you're winning the bottom side as well, and getting Persine upgrade once you have a good number of fishing ships, which is like about 10 to 15, I'd say. You get the Persine upgrade. You need to be paying attention, not losing your triremes to this dock. You can just like put them on patrol, move back and forth, stand ground and patrol, and they won't fire away at the dock. And then the dock will just keep shooting at the triremes and they'll keep missing. So that's what you can do. You need to be careful. Like, you're just fighting under this dock now, and you really don't have a reason to, but you finally got the miner out to help, so this dock definitely will go down, and you will be winning this side of the water. And then once you've done that, you can move more villagers and spam more docks down here to defend. Yeah, you can see he's auto-queuing fishing ships, like, and he's got the... Like, if these fishing ships weren't idle, he'd have a really good fishing economy right now. And you should be making as many fishing ships as you can to like saturate every fishing spot that you can. Like, I can't see how much of a... Like, fishing ships are just a really, really, really good investment in terms of how they pay off. Like, if you compare them to eco upgrades, they're just like maybe 2 or 3 times as efficient. Like, it's about 2 or 3 times as efficient early on to get fishing ships instead of eco upgrades. They're just really good. So you want to saturate all the fishing spots you can, like that like, unless your opponent is heavily contesting them, then maybe you can give them up. But then, like, if there's free fishing spots that you can get, then you should really be trying to use up these fishing spots. They're just so good, and then you could be heroic by now with this amount of resources if you had a good fishing economy going.
Λέγε. Πρόσταγμα. Έτοιμος.
Yeah, so you're winning this side of the water as well. But then, I mean, you're winning the water, but then, like, the water is pointless without fishing ships. So yeah, you really need to be making fishing ships. You don't actually have enough food to say, okay, I've got too many fishing ships, that's enough. And in fact, it's like, it's pretty much never enough against Norse. Like, you can't have enough fishing ships because Hippaspis, they cost so much food, and they're really good against Norse. Hydras as well. Hydras are a very good units against Norse, even Loki. Like, Hippaspis and Hydras, it's a really strong combo, really good against Norse. Hippaspis, Hoplites, and Hydras. And then right now you have no land army. Yeah, you're fighting water, but you've overcommitted a bit. You've got too many ships, and then he's got... You might have trouble transitioning to land like this, especially since you don't actually have a good food economy from your fishing. So right now, if I was in this position, my goal would be to make some army and go mythic. So I can move into the middle, lightning storm this army. Since he doesn't have flaming weapons, he won't be able to come back. I mean he won't. You don't have to save it for flaming weapons. And then use lightning storm to make sure that you win a fight, and then you can establish some forward buildings near these gold mines, and try to secure it. And so you can fight the late game against Loki that way. That would be my goal right now. And to achieve that, you need to saturate the fishing as much as possible. There's one fishing spot here. There's two fishing spots here. There's fishing spots here. You don't have the food to go mythic, but you should be making it. You should also be getting the Persine upgrade. Yes, you do have Persine. Actually, you're actually not even heroic. Thanks. Yeah, you need to be going heroic as well. Like right now, you just got this pathetic army, and at this point of the game, like it's really such a small army for like 13 minutes in, and I don't know how you're going to be able to deal with this push with all these myth units. Only these two miserable heroes. Since you're in Classic Age, you only have two heroes. It's not good. It's not good. You needed to have been heroic. You needed to have been fishing more. Yeah. So yeah, I can see your base is just getting overrun now by all these myth units. Yeah, so, this game basically came down to you not getting fishing out enough. Basically came down to you not getting fishing ships, and that's why you weren't able to get a good heroic timing, because you weren't making fishing ships. That's why you weren't able to just spam all the land army, like spam into oblivion and have like five academies queuing hoplites and Hypaspis and like making hydras on top of that, because you weren't fishing. You weren't fishing enough. You got all this water economy, but then you were so slow to start fishing, you weren't able to go heroic. And also your early game build orders, it was a bit like it was geared up for a fast advance. You're playing sort of like Mediterranean, which is actually sort of fine on Anatolia. Like if you go for a Mediterranean style with hoplites and stuff, like full on water fight, and like you go for a fast takedown on the docks, like that's also a fine way to play Anatolia. But you need to really be making more fishing ships early on. You can't stop making fishing ships when you have the wood to, unless you're gonna get housed. Like there's a like what I remember is I make on this map, I make 2 fishing ships, sometimes 3, depend like if I can lure boar into my town center, and then I put only 3 on food, and I start putting more villagers to wood earlier. So I put like 3 on food and like 3 on wood, and then I put more villagers to food because I lured that boar to the town center, so I didn't have to make a granary, and it's gathering right under my town center really efficiently. So yeah, like in that case, maybe I can squeeze out a 3rd fishing boat before I make a house. But the safe play is to make a dock, make 2 fishing ships, house, and then once you started making that house, you immediately start trying to queue fishing ships again as soon as you have the wood to. You just spam the fishing ship button as soon as your house has started, so you can start queuing more fishing ships. If you're trying to advance that advance quickly, like it's Mediterranean, like 4:30 to 5, you want to make about 6 or 7 fishing ships before you start making your temple. That way your temple will be up in time for you to advance, and you'll have as many fishing ships as possible before that. And then once you've saved up resources for the temple, and then the next thing you need to make is a house, and then once you've got that house up as well, you can make more fishing ships, and then you'll be able to advance fast, and you'll have a good number of fishing ships on one side of the map, and you'll advance quickly. If you want to use up both sides of the map, then you'll advance a bit later, but you'll have this amazing food economy, and it's also a really strong option on Anatolia. Yeah, so you need to be making more fishing ships, and you also, I think, you're overcommitted on the water. Like, you fighting his dock here was not good without the Minotaur. Like the triremes were just taking. Like, you were just losing so many triremes to the dock. Like that dock, it cost him like 120 wood to make, and it took out like 4 triremes, which is like 600 resources. So like he did suicide some longboats, which made it even up a bit. But then, yeah, one dock taking out 4 triremes is like it's no good. And then eventually you won the side of the water, which is worth quite a lot. But then you have to delete the triremes anyway. But yeah, you only needed like 6 or 7 triremes, and just to be careful about not losing them to the dock, like not letting them just tank the dock arrow fire as well. Yeah, so that's what this game came down to. It's mostly lack of efficient eco. That's what lost you the game. If you had Mythic, you'd been fine. This push would, like, you just go bam, Lightning Storm, and then this push, it's over. It doesn't do anything. And then you get Heracles and Bellerophon out, along with the 2 heroes you already have, and then all these myth units, they're not so scary anymore, because you have 4 really strong heroes instead of just your 2 mediocre heroes. Okay, so that's going to be it for the recorded games, and if anybody else has recorded games that you want me to review, I'd be happy to do that. Just contact me through my Discord and send me the recorded games, and I'll like, yeah, and I'll have a look at them. Thank you.